Have you ever wondered why some people remain so calm when everything around them falls apart? Why do they smile when others panic and stay peaceful when the world seems to crash down? We often forget that the divine plan unfolds in ways we can't understand, especially when life throws its hardest challenges at us. Maybe you're facing a situation right now where nothing makes sense. Perhaps you're stuck between what seems like a blessing and what feels like a curse. Then this story is for you. This story won't just make you think. It may also change how you view every challenge that comes your way. So listen carefully until the end. In a small village nestled between ancient mountains lived an old farmer named Chen. Unlike his neighbors who were quick to judge every situation, Chen possessed an unusual gift, the ability to remain silent in the face of both fortune and disaster. He lived with his teenage son Ming in a modest house, tending to their small farm and their only precious possession, a magnificent white horse. The villagers often admired Chen's horse, claiming it was the finest in the province. "You're so fortunate, Chen," they would say. "That horse must be worth more than all our farms combined." But Chen would only smile and say, "We'll see." One morning, Chen woke to find his precious horse had disappeared. The news spread quickly through the village. People gathered at his door, lamenting his misfortune. "Such terrible luck," they cried. "Your most valuable possession, gone. This is the worst thing that could happen." But Chen simply replied, "Is that so?" But believe it or not, 3 days later, the horse returned. And it wasn't alone. It brought with it 12 wild horses from the mountains. The villagers rushed back to Chen's farm, this time celebrating. "You're blessed by heaven," they exclaimed. "Now you have 13 horses. Your misfortune turned into a miracle." Chen just nodded and said, "Perhaps." Then guess what happened? The next week, Ming tried to break in one of the wild horses. He was thrown off and broke his leg badly. Once again, the villagers swarmed Chen's house. "How tragic," they declared. "Your only son injured. First the horse brings good fortune, then it brings disaster. You should have sold those wild horses." Chen continued his work and simply said, "We'll see." Something surprising occurred just a month later. The emperor's army entered the village, conscripting all able-bodied young men for a war. Every young man was taken, except Ming, who was still healing from his broken leg. The villagers returned to Chen, this time with tears of both joy and sorrow. "Your son's accident saved his life. While our sons marched to war, yours remained safe. What blessed luck." Chen looked at them with compassionate eyes and said, "Life is more complex than good or bad luck." That evening, Ming asked his father, "Father, how do you stay so peaceful when everything changes so quickly?" Chen smiled and replied, "See, Ming, what happens in life is never simple. That's why we must never rush to judge any situation. The same event that looks like a blessing might be a curse, and what appears as a curse might be a blessing. The real lesson is that life flows like a river, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent. But just as we can't judge a story by its first chapter, we can't judge an event by its first appearance. Whether it's good or bad, only time can tell. God's plan unfolds in divine timing, and our limited vision often fails to see the complete picture. Maybe something is happening in your life right now that seems devastating, but trust that God's plan is greater than your current view. Remember this: in the midst of chaos, your silence might be your greatest wisdom. Don't fall apart when things seem bad, and don't get carried away when things seem good. If you like this story, don't forget to leave a like. Tell us in the comments what you learned from Chen's wisdom and how you apply it in your life. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.